There is one giant gaping hole in all of Protestant theology, and once you've seen it, you cannot unsee it. If you can understand the argument that I'm going to lay out in this video very clearly, you'll be able to use it effectively against every single branch of Protestantism to show them that the Protestant intellectual tradition is an absolute house of cards. Because any student of history knows that there is one holy, Catholic, and apostolic church which Jesus Christ, the Son of God, instituted in his blood for the salvation of souls. The Protestant tradition cannot offer that. So what is this one question that no Protestant theologian can answer? Before I get into that, let me just ask you another question. What does the Bible say about contraception? What does the Bible say about the pill? I've read the Bible cover to cover a few times now, and I haven't seen a single Bible verse about contraception, at least not about the birth control pill that was invented in the 1960s. So if you are a Bible-believing Christian, what do you do? What do you do? The Bible does not tell you what to do in this specific instance. So yes, read the Bible to the degree that you can, try to find any verses that relate to it, and then pray. That's what Protestants will do. But the problem is, the Protestant stance on contraception has changed from the early 1900s to the present day. This is not going to be a history lesson on this matter, but generally, every Protestant church was opposed to contraception in the early 20th century. And by the end of the 20th century, every single Christian Protestant denomination, with very few exceptions, had switched their mind on this important teaching. So who's right? The Protestant church in 1900 or the Protestant church in 2000? And it's impossible that they both be correct. They affirm contrary propositions. One says it's morally permissible to use contraception, and the other says it is no way morally permissible to use contraception. So which is it? So this is the gaping hole in all of Protestant theology. There is no way to settle new theological or moral disputes. Not with any authority or unity. Only a visible institution with authority can provide unity on doctrinal and moral issues. And we find that in the Catholic Church. The Church's stance on contraception since the time of the apostles has not changed. In order for the Church to actually be the pillar and the bulwark of the faith, of truth, in order for that to happen, the Church has to be living and active. It has to be present. It has to be boots on the ground. A Bible-based church that has no authority structure can't answer these questions. And they're important because if you love God, you should want to do everything within your power not to offend him. And if contraception offends him, you need to know so that you can amend your ways. So in all honesty, Protestants, what do you do when you're faced with a new moral issue? What do you do about IVF? Is it morally permissible or not? What do you do about the birth control pill? These are all concepts that the authors of the Bible didn't even know were going to exist one day. So for any Protestant listeners out there, I would just encourage you, return to the church. That's all Protestants have done is they've left their mother. They've left their home. They've abandoned the fathers of the church. They've abandoned their heritage and their inheritance. Return home to the Catholic Church. That is what Jesus wants for you. And you will find moral clarity. You will find answers to these questions that Protestant denominations flounder over. And you will know exactly how you're supposed to live your life in order to please God. You'll find it in the church's teachings. You'll find it in the writings of the saints. You'll find it in the sacraments. So for my Protestant listeners, please return home. Come home to the Catholic Church, and you will find the peace of Christ in a way that it just simply does not exist in the contradictions of Protestantism. Come home. And if you're Catholic and you're listening to this, pray for all of the Protestants out there. Pray that they return home. They are brothers and sisters in Christ. They share a common baptism. We all have God as our Father. Those brothers and sisters are out there suffering, perishing because they do not know the truth. Pray that God would open their eyes and lead them into full communion. pray with Christ that we all may be one, as the Father and He are one, in the visible hierarchy of the Catholic Church, which Jesus Christ founded on Calvary in His blood.